Episode 88 of Book of Dawn, Ioth Academy. In the holy city of Brontha, last time our heroes successfully tricked Master Elnau into drinking several potions of greater restoration, starting to heal the void corruption that was hollowing her out, removing her emotions, making her cold, callous, and making decisions that put her students in danger. The sudden shock of her emotions coming back to her almost overwhelmed her. Garnet went out to comfort her, tried to cast a sneaky little spell from a scroll, and that gave up the entire jig. Master Elnau was not happy about the students using magic on her without her consent, even if it was for her own good. Much yelling commenced, but there was no time to ruminate on it because the very next day, the entire academy was planning a devastating attack on the city of Defraxis. Back in Ioth Academy, they've got all the designs for Designer 8's incredibly powerful magical weapon. And they're planning to invade it, attack it, and turn it against their enemies. Garnet successfully built the Void Mask that she learned how to make from Seosh, and its powers are incredibly useful, but somewhat tempting. Athalor and Mason are planning to multiply Mason's runic powers so that when they have to do the brain-melting work of sabotaging this incredibly powerful magical weapon, they'll have that power in their back pocket. Finally, we went over to Onderud, where Athalor's family is in political turmoil after his uncle's identity as an Ulitharid was revealed to one and all. Elnau and Garnet have successfully controlled the Sphere of Annihilation and are preparing to use it in the very next episode when our heroes attack Defraxis. And that's the long pause so we can cut the VOD. Welcome everybody to Detention. We're going to make you stick around here after hours writing things on the blackboard and such. We already did our hellos and how's everyone doing, but now that we've had the entire episode over, I want to open up the floor to everyone first off. Rowan, anything on this one? There's a lot of talking, a lot of planning. Open field for all three of you, and then we'll be structured again.
Yeah, just like generic thoughts. I mean, I guess it's interesting trying to navigate the perspective of like where Mason's at, especially after doing the whole, making Elnau drink all the Kool-Aid, and being like, oh yeah, because Mason already kind of was being like, maybe I should just talk to her about it, like understood and like sympathized with Garnet's concerns and stuff. But then now that Elnau like knows and was big mad about it, it's like, oh yeah, right. That's why I didn't really want to in the first place. But bigger things are on the horizon, so a lot of cooking was done, a lot of good ideas. Hopefully, it all goes smoothly.
I love the cooking. This is the ideal place for a little bit of cooking.
I got dogged by 2 1s. I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for that meddling one.
What's hilarious is right before the episode started, you were literally saying, so I'm going to do a lot of like deception and stuff. Do you want me to roll for all of these? Because like, I don't know if I want to get caught, but I kind of want to leave it up to the dice. And we said, yeah, sure, we'll leave it up to the dice. And then I've never seen so many ones rolled in such a short period of time.
Because we had to test if Roll20 works.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. Because you rolled like 2 1s in a row, and then I rolled 2 1s.
We rolled 4 1s in a row.
It was bad. It was bad. I guess the design is just inexorable.
I think it actually was. I think I was meant to mess that up no matter what.
It was they can't keep getting away with this. Finally, never punished, always lucky, had to come to an end at some point. Legs, I'm not saying I wrote all of that magical mechanical crap for you, but I definitely at least partially wrote all that magical mechanical crap for you because I knew that the cooking would be good.
Thank you. I'm still tinfoiling on why it's called the multiplanar focusing array. Because like just that it draws energy from a reservoir in a different plane, I ain't buying. It's the first word in the title. Like no one says, oh, this is a multiplanar focusing array just because it's got some fuel from another plane.
It shoots into other planes, clearly.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that it has some calibration tools that can like you like crank it on the dial between planes or whatever. Or there's some planar location tools on it.
You don't think it's just the Defraxis marketing department at it again, trying to get more grant money?
Maybe they are. They're like, yo, if you put multiplanar, it qualifies for our grant points. So
fair deal. Fair deal. We didn't really get to dive into the political turmoil plot line in Onderud too much this episode, partially because time is short and partially because I do want to move into the Defraxis scene. This is going to be like a big set piece. it might take a few episodes to move through,
Mm.
because I'm not saying this is going to be the last bad thing that happens in year 5, but like it could be. There's a chance of it. It's possible that after this, things will calm down, depending entirely on how it goes. We could get right back to blowing up the school and fixing the timeline. Who knows?
Oh god.
Timeline doesn't require that the school be gone in 500 years. It just requires that everyone think it is.
When you said that, like, we'd have access to know everything about the gate spell because of Ioth Academy, I was reading the gate spell and I was like, bro, why haven't they just called the Sage through this thing?
That is a good question. That is an excellent question.
Like, it seems like it would be like the easy way. Athalor was going to consider, like, seeing if he could find a scroll in the headmaster's office.
You know how much a 9th level spell costs in spell components? Like,
oh, really?
Too much.
It's so behind the curtain. Yes, getting the Sage back is important, but the Sage is not like super powerful in a hands-on fight. Yeah, she held her own against Uncle, obviously, but right now,
Uncle's a bitch.
Uncle gets a bad rap. A lot of that, like, ever since the beginning, Uncle's been like, behold my secret powers, and just rolls for shit, or everyone saves against it. It's awful. I felt so bad in the werewolf episode when he was just useless. Everyone was supposed to be going to their ultimate mode, and then Uncle was just like, wah, wah. But yeah, El now is in a mood of, we will get the Sage back after we deal with this, the explodey part. Because if we need those gate spells to save the school, sorry, Sage, you're going to have to wait. That's the calculus that she's running. Not that she's shared that with the students, because, you know, the teachers at the school are so good at keeping information private from the students.
Absolutely.
No. Anything else before we go into some of the questions we've had over the last couple of weeks? No? All right.
Did you expect us to look at the outhouse?
I did not. I have a habit of building scenes by starting with cool maps. I'm like, I need something like this, and I find a cool map, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. And everything that's on the map is canon. It's in there. And so I had done a lot of work on the inside, and there were things about the outside of that map that you still haven't noticed. Didn't roll high enough on perception, and nobody saw doing the scrying itself. And I was like, yeah, that's the secret. That's the thing to look for. Then I noticed that the designer's room is literally an outhouse. I would not have noticed that if you hadn't pointed it out. So that's going to be fun.
I think it's weird that the spell, like, everything is protected from scrying except this outhouse.
I am going to justify this by saying that was Designer 8's personal headquarters, and the fact that you have access to his head means you can decrypt that.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's my head. That's my head canon.
Different spell matrices.
Actually, yeah. Any other questions from the cast before we move on to this?
Are the goats important on the canon map?
All right.
There's an excess of goats.
Sure.
Well, they got to eat something. The ones who still have digestive systems. Or maybe it's not the designers who eat them. Maybe it's something else in the area.
Bruh.
One goes.
We'll find out. All right. This one's from chat. If you had to pick one of the Infernals to win, and there's an asterisk on this, it has to be an actual Infernal, not a double triple agent. Who would you pick and why? Starting with Crowan.
Oh boy. It's a bunch of just bad answers, honestly. Because, I mean, all the Infernals body their own, like, weird random shit. And none of it's productive to, like, the world. And so I guess I just default to... it's kind of fucked up. I'll just default to Herald because, you know, post personal kind of weight in that one. And it implies that there is a way to become an Infernal in the same way that he did. So that's cool. I respect the hustle. There you go. So he deserves
All
it.
right. That might be one of the worst possible answers in terms of what life would be like for everyone else,
It'd
but
be
your
so
reasons are
shit.
100% valid. Your reasons are
But I
100%
respect the
valid.
hustle.
Yeah. Like, Dave, what about you?
I might have a name wrong here, but Tillerbeck, the ruin that walks.
Nailed it. No,
'Cause
you're 100% right.
I don't know anything about them, but the idea of complete ruin is in its own way like a compelling fresh start.
Mm.
I can see like Mirror Keeper, just the fact that you just can pull anyone into the mirror world, have them 1v1 themselves, which is probably going to be an L, and then basically have clones of like the most powerful people in the world. What stops him from just like mirror cloning Infernals? And then just creating his own infernal army
Big ass
off
mirror.
of just a mirror. Like put a giant mirror in front of the whole planet. Boom. Planet mine. I just think the concept is cool of just like this puppeteering person who's not at the very top but has his own ideals and is clearly very hard to counter. And I've dabbled with like obviously I've thought about all the many ways that Garnet would die, and I think like the whole jumping into the mirror, like if there was going to be some world where if Ariana was like in trouble and anyway, dying in the mirror world sounds like one of the cool ways that I'd want Garnet to go. Just 1v1ing herself and losing to herself is like the funniest thing that would happen to someone with an ego. Or maybe like winning. I think that would be badass too, but maybe that'll happen. But yeah, Mirror Keeper.
I would actually also say the Mirror Keeper, but for slightly different reasons. So when I think about the Infernals, what I think about is what do they want, right? What would the world be like if they won? And they'd all suck. They would all be horrible, but they'd be horrible for different reasons. And I think that the Mirror Keeper's world would be incredibly superficial. It would be driven by deception, by appearances. Basically, it would be a 100% clout economy, and that sounds terrible, but it sounds better than being completely crushed by Uzul or any of the others. So if I had to pick a hell, I'd pick the superficial influencer hell.
The Zuckerberg ending.
Zuckerberg ending. All right. So last time we talked about headcanon, right? I'm pretty sure we talked about a headcanon about your character that's never had the chance to come up in game. I'm open to that if somebody else had a cool answer for it, but otherwise I'm going to go to the next one.
I think at least for me, like I'm still obviously battling the whole like good and bad, whatever. But I don't think I've been able to show as much of like what is pulling her towards the bad, which is like a lot of like internal voices, which haven't been able to get into like what those voices are. Are they made up? Is this like a real thing? But character has been able to hide it well also because it's just like I ain't trying to make the whole scene about me being a crazy bitch. So that, but also there's like voices, and I think like they reinforce like fear. So like El now and like the friends and everything. So every time she thinks badly, it's because of this. But then she tries to like overcome it. But when shit hits the fan, it's just like it avalanches into making even worse and worse decisions, aka like when she killed Naomi, this is all like reinforcing fear of losing Ariana, got pushed to the edge of like that was her biggest fear, and when she was reminded of that, that's what really pushed her. But and especially like, and the whole reason she went and took void corruption was to kind of mute the voices and to just have silence and to have that sense of I am alone and be okay with that. It's almost like a more comfortable way of facing being alone because she chose to be alone rather than people leaving her. So there's like kind of like El now, like a therapeutic reason of taking in void corruption, but dealing with it privately, which we'll see how she either goes deeper into the void based on her losing trust with El now because of everything that happened today, or if she's gonna like find the light and go to the good ending. But we'll see.
Normally, I shut out the voices and I'm out by playing hours and hours of video games. But you know,
Yes.
our trauma, our coping mechanism.
Slave aspire, void corruption. Slave aspire, void
Same
corruption.
thing, really.
Let's
All
say
right.
this fire.
This is a fun one. If you got to pick somebody and who wasn't you to play your character in the live action movie or TV series or whatever of Ioth Academy, who would you cast?
I guess I'll go first. I did a little bit thinking about it actually, so I looked at this question. I was like, who would I? And I was like, really stumped on it. And eventually, I landed on they're the voice actor for Echo and Arcane, Reed Shannon. And I think I don't know. I just love Echo as a character, and I think some similar concepts. I don't really know how to describe it that well, but some similar concepts could apply to Mason and that kind of type of character development, I think.
That's crazy because every time I think about Echo, I think about the Echo and Jinx battle and how much that reminds me of just like Alex and Garnet fighting, like childhood friends, and now trying to kill each other, and like one of them's clearly off the deep end. This would be more you and actually both of us, but anyway, I always think of that like the stopwatch battle, and I'm like, that would be Alex.
The bridge battle. Oh, it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it's a little bit difficult because I don't know as many young actors, but I'd probably go with someone like Timothée Chalamet. He's got such an angular face, and I think he'd do a good job of doing an insecure, but at the same time, like delusions of grandeur nerd who feels like they are blessed with heroic purpose.
I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, I didn't really think about age or anything in that, but I thought of Amanda. How do you say her name? Amanda Seyfried. I think she's the one.
Who she played?
What? She was in a bunch of stuff. She's Mamma Mia, Mean Girls, Jennifer's Body. She's the needy. I just like find she does like the very like innocent face very well, but she can do like the crazy face very well too. So she has a good balance of like looking innocent, and she's blonde, obviously, which is Garnet is blonde too, and she's very like pretty, but can definitely pull off the crazy well.
I always imagined like blonde Kat Dennings as Garnet.
Kat Dennings. Yeah, that too. It was hard to pick. I just looked at like blonde actresses, and then she landed on this one.
Keith David as Untermaler.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh, I could see it. It's cute.
Oh, true, true.
It's the voice. It's the voice, because you know, like Untermaler would probably, unless like you really went all in on the practical effects, Untermaler would be CGI'd up. But get Keith David to voice him. Partially because I think he'd be perfect, partially because I would just be like any excuse to be involved with that man in any way.
Too good. But someone has to edit all of the faces side to side, and like.
I know, if I wasn't a hack, I would be bringing these up even as we speak. Oh, we get to edit that over the weekend. That's cool. All right. So earlier we posted a link to the curriculum for Ioth Academy, and one of the questions from chat was, which Ioth Academy class would you most want to take in real life if you could?
Ah, that's a good one.
I'll drop that in chat just so that you can play along at home.
I think spell matrices, because it would, imply that there is magic. So I just want to learn how to do magic as well as I fucking could. So I want to learn the fuck out of those matrices and do magic and be good at it. Because if I do something and I'm not good at it, fuck doing it at all. So, yep, might as well.
Is it like any year that we can do?
They didn't specify, so I'm going to say yes.
Necromancy sounds so fucking cool, though. Just like talking to dead body. Like, imagine being able to just like talk to the dead, or like mess with any kind of bringing people back to life stuff. Like, that's pretty cool. I mean, any magic, like Crowan said. If it was more like earlier years, probably like the warfare. Was it tactics of battle and warfare? Less of the history part and more of like the hands-on stuff. Like,
What are we gonna learn to kick ass, teacher?
Yeah, I suppose for like school, like for actual magic, probably enchantment. But for like a subject, probably planar meta geometry. I feel like that would be very good in terms of like the cool theoretical physics stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I already basically do history.
Would runic alphabets just be like Latin for
You do like hieroglyphs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took 3 semesters of Latin in college, partially so that I could write better ominous chants for D&D, but also because it wasn't a conversational class and therefore it was easier.
True.
If I had to pick, I'm going to say divination, because I have put way too much thought into what superpower would you want, that whole question. And whenever I think about that, instead of being like, what would be really cool? I think, okay, how could I avoid being dissected by the government?
True.
And like any of the flashy stuff will get you got. So divination, you can keep that hidden. You can keep that secret to yourself. You can still use it to your advantage, but you can underplay it, right? As for non-direct practical magic, I'd say cosmological metaphysics, because I'm a huge nerd for afterlives and cosmology, mythology, all that crap. One of these days we'll do the superpower question, I think. All right. Here's one. If you could sit and talk with any Titan or Sovereign, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
I'm gonna think about that one for a second. I don't know.
I'm like pulling up the list here real quick.
Quick, let me get that list as well.
Yeah, same actually.
I think Zalar's just like, I already talked to him a lot. I don't know.
Bird Jesus, whatever.
Bird Jesus, whatever.
I feel like Sin would be pretty good. But like, kind of want to talk to Vinder, but he seems like he wouldn't be much of a conversationalist.
Nah. I'm going to go... So I could say Zalar, because Zalar is the deity that I invented for my very first ever D&D character.
Oh, cool.
So that would just be sort of like a, oh, wow, you're real. That's neat. But next to that, I would say Nis. Nis is a Titan who has had 0 screen time, basically. And is... So the Titans are all either solely the creation of one sovereign, like the 4 winds are solely the creation of Vindur, or they're the creation of 2 different sovereigns. Zalar is Vindur and Sin, air and fire. Nis is the sole creation of Sin and is the Titan of the inner flame. Self-awareness, self-enlightenment, knowledge, revelation, that kind of crap. And I could use some of that. So that's who I talk to.
Wonder, like, it'd be funny to ask Ericura what they think about Athalor eating all the blood. Asking Vindur if he actually cares about his son being dead, or is it like, I got more of those, I can make another one, I don't know if they feel emotion or like care about that stuff. I don't know.
Tell him about Ishla, you got any more of that blood?
Fuck you, stop eating me.
I think Ramia seems really interesting.
Ramius is a complicated character.
Yeah, as of like looking over like a little bit, that kind of is what drew me. I don't know, the fact that probably a lot of complicated, probably get a lot of interesting perspective.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Ramius is that in our timeline, most of his interesting stuff hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
He's the one
like
who...
Auric?
Auric is cool. I like Auric.
Because it says wealth and secrets. What does he know? And how do we get rich?
Auric is
from characters talking to them. Is our characters talking to her, or IRL talking to him?
Either. I picked myself because I don't want to answer for every single freaking character ever. But
that's true.
Yeah, either.
Wait, the ruin that walks is the only Infernal that doesn't have her own page. I knew that there was some mystery about that.
That is neglect on my part. But Tillabek is the Infernal of mob violence. So yes, ruin and destruction, but also persecution and groupthink.
Oh, the avatar of Twitter.
Yes, exactly. If the Grey Jester is 4chan, Tilbeck is Twitter.
I think like character wise, I'd love for Garnet to talk to Zayla like one-on-one to see like what's the judgment like here? Why haven't you smited my ass yet?
We
like,
cool?
Are we cool or not cool? Like, well, what's the plan here? Cause you're losing me.
That may yet happen. We'll see. All right. As we are wrapping up our post show, I want to see if there's any specific questions from the list that you want to pick out or throw at the team. Otherwise, we'll go with IRL, best stat, and dump stat.
You know what I was thinking of? How old is Anaros?
He's young, but he's an adult.
Like early.
I'm gonna need some numbers.
I'm gonna need a birth certificate. I'm gonna need to see some ID.
I'll be Anaros' birth.
We're going to call the Anacra police in on his ass.
Well,
he just turned 19.
Oh, okay. No, just crushing on older guys. All good.
It do be like that sometimes. All right, let's round things up. Each of us your in real life best stat and dump stat.
Dump stat definitely dexterity. I've got these orangutan hands.
Wait, IRL good and bad stat?
IRL stats, yeah.
I'd like to think the best is either charisma or strength.
That's on brand, and I could see either of those being completely true.
My dump stat definitely strength. For sure. Best stat probably charisma.
I feel like dexterity for me because I'm old and I don't have the reaction time anymore. And I actually have really bad balance. So when I work out, I just fall over all the time.
Oh no.
Yeah, it took me a while to not have that happen, but I feel like dexterity for me probably. For constitution, isn't that like sleep schedule stuff? Like, don't we all have bad constitutions because we're all
okay? So there's constitution is your inherent like heartiness and such, right? If you continuously have bad sleep hygiene, then you just have ranks of exhaustion, which it doesn't matter what your constitution is, you're going to have some penalties applied.
Yeah, I would say it's like low key.
Having a low constitution, you get sick a lot, right? Having a high constitution, you don't get sick very much.
I've got low con, but I've got even lower dex. I've got double dump stats, really.
Low key, my con actually might be best stat. I like almost never get sick, and like never a problem. Like if I like eat anything, like I never like stomach problems. Like half my friends are just like, oh yeah, I can't eat this or this or this because you know it's in the bathroom later. I'm like, I don't get that. I just iron stomach, I guess. I don't know. Never get sick. I'm chilling.
Immune to poison and disease.
Man. Yeah, I rolled.
Exactly. Advantage on those. No, it's tricky for me because I have terrible hand-eye coordination, but I actually have decent balance, which is odd for someone who's 6'4". I'm probably gonna say dump stat con because I get, which could just be unclean living. Like I got asthma, I can't eat gluten, just a number of ridiculous, annoying little things.
You got the debuffs.
Yeah, a lot of those like min-maxing your character and taking all of those little penalties in order to squeeze out more points in dice.
Garnet in absolute power.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I want more points, damn it.
that was a fucking sick game, by the way. If you guys haven't seen it, who are watching now, Absolute Power from Daisgami. They did a good sponsorship for us. It was awesome.
It was a fun system too, super customizable. For high stat, I'm gonna say wisdom because I usually know what the right choice is to make, even if I don't usually make that choice.
High wisdom, low int.
Which one? Somebody could say like making the right choice is equally part of having. No, but I have terrible perception scores, like just abysmal perception. That can't be right.
I'm on the dumbass smart end of it, where it's high int, low wisdom.
Yeah, yeah, the absent-minded professor element. Yeah, that's more my boat, I think. All right, team.
Can you be a high charisma introvert? Because that's me.
Yes, yes, you absolutely can. Charisma is not about personal skills. It's more about personal magnetism. So like you go out there and you do a cast, or you put out content, or like you go to a party and you have to put on your face, right? And you are really, really fucking good at that. And then back in your base, you're just like, I'm going to crawl in my hole now. Like,
Yeah,
you
okay.
absolutely can be a high chaw introvert. Totally a thing.
Yeah, that'll be my best stat then.
Does everyone know what their personality profiles are, like the Myers-Briggs thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Personality?
Sure.
Oh,
Like
yeah, I'm defender.
INFP or some shit.
I don't know. I forgot the code. I'm like the defender one.
They called me the debater.
Nice.
That checks out. Oh, I'm the mediator.
Here's the next challenge. Before next time, everybody take it once for your real self and once for your character and see how different they are.
Oh. Ooh.
I'm about to be exposed. It's the exact same.
No, the self-inserts.
Not guilty. All right. Once again, thank you everyone for joining us for Detention. We will see you next time on Book of Dawn Ioth Academy as we launch our attack on Defraxis. Thank you for joining us, and class dismissed.